What's up? My name is Technoba here for Troubleshoot and welcome back to another video. So this video is going to be a little bit more disconnected and unorganized compared to previous videos, as it's a rather niche topic that I'm focusing on here. If you Googled for this video, then congratulations, you found your way to the right place. Backing up files is obviously very important, and I keep all of my important project files in a projects folder. This projects folder I mirror to another hard drive, just in case something goes wrong, and on top of that I also encrypt it and upload it, or rather keep it synced with the cloud as well. If you'd like to know how to keep a cloud automatic sync that's encrypted with your own password on top of whatever cloud service you're using, check the description down below. Anyways, over here I have E projects, and on this side I have A projects. A projects is the active directory that I work out of, and E projects is my mirror backup. Now, something I find myself doing once in a while is, instead of using the shortcut that takes me to A projects, the one that I'm currently using, I simply go into E drive and into projects, which is not what I'm supposed to be doing because this is the backup. I'm actively working out of the backup rather than the active directory. So I've reached a point where it's been probably a couple of months that I've been doing this without realizing, and I need to go ahead and fix this issue. The simplest thing to do is to just move the backup from one folder to another. But I've done some more work there than I have in the other directory. So how exactly do we get ourselves out of the situation and fix our original folder, put everything new into it, then create a new backup from that? Well, that's the simplest solution, and that's exactly what I'll be showing you here. So what we need to do in order is we need to find duplicates between these two folders here, our original and the backup, and we'll be removing all of the quote duplicates from the backup file. This way we'll only have original files in one place, and all of the backed up files that match the original ones will be deleted. The backup should now only contain files that are different to the original working directory. Awesome. Now, to do this, you can use any deduplication software. Just make sure you only select files on your backup drive or the backup folder rather than the original directory, and delete all of those duplicates. For this, I used Tree Size, which I purchased a couple of days ago, and unfortunately, the deduplication only comes with the purchased version, so you may want to look for another free software. Effectively, I told it to look for duplicates, and then I said check if, and told it to only include folders on the E drive, my backup drive. This way, it'll only select files on my backup drive that match the ones in my working drive, and I'm able to delete them. Once I'd gone ahead and removed all of the duplicates, I'm left with a bunch of empty folders and files that are different. As you can see, if I do properties here, there's about 14 gigabytes. Awesome. So from here, if you'd like, you can just move everything from here into your active working directory, but you'll come across a few issues. For one, all the new files in your backup that you've been working with will be added to your working one, and you'll be able to use them as per normal. But there will be file differences, especially if you're working in the working one and it's different to the backed up one. For example, you can see Ideas Complete have two different file sizes. The one on E is bigger, meaning I've actually added to it, and the one on A, my working directory, is smaller, meaning I haven't really added to it in a while. This is going to involve a lot of manual effort, especially if you don't really know what's on your file system. Though before we get to manually sorting things out, the second step is to remove empty folders to make life a bit easier for us. For that, you'll find a line in the description down below. I'll create a new text file and rename it remove empty folders or whatever you'd like, .bat instead of .txt. This way, this batch file is something we can run to remove empty folders in this directory. If you can't see file extensions, click View at the very top and make sure File Name Extensions is checked. In Windows 11, this will obviously be in a different location. I'll open this bat file with something like Notepad. You can right-click and edit, and you'll be given just an empty box of text. In the description down below, you'll find this line of text. Basically, it searches recursively, as in into folders in here, for empty folders, and then it simply just removes empty folders. Nice and simple. It's as easy as that. So after pasting it in and saving it, all we have to do is run it, and it'll run through all of the files in the drive, removing a bunch of empty folders. This way, when it eventually completes, we'll have a much cleaner folder hierarchy that only contain files, rather than just being empty. This way, you can actually see what files are different in different places. Again, you'll find this text in the description down below. So starting with the, say, I don't know, the Steam Authenticator folder over here, I'll open it in my active working one as well, and you can see the programs here, and the only things that are different is a log file and a couple of temporary files here that don't really matter. Effectively, this is the program that I work with actively, and these files here are only really older files that are cached and have no purpose being here. If I were to drag them across to my working file and replace the working ones here, it could replace them with older broken versions that won't really work properly. So, knowing exactly what this folder is for, I'll simply delete it and move on. Technobo branding, animated, animated. There's an After Effects project in here that's older and smaller than the one here, so I can freely delete this file, etc, etc. All you have to do is work across, opening two folders next to each other and directly comparing files, seeing which one's newer, which one's older, and of course deleting the older one. Now eventually I'll come across a file that only exists in my backup folder over here, meaning all I have to do is just drag it across into here, into my working one, and things are working properly from there. Eventually I'll end up with this folder being completely empty and my backup will be non-existent. At that point, it's a good idea to create another backup, but this time try and name it a little bit differently. I thought I was being smart with A projects being the folder I work in and E projects being the backup, but there's no real way to tell the difference between the two, especially when it's 2 a.m. I'm tired and just trying to get jobs done. I'd highly recommend having, say, A projects as the working directory and E backup projects as the backup folder, so you know exactly what it is and you shouldn't be working in there. So of course this is going to take you quite a bit of time to get going. Effectively, I made this backup copy here with a free piece of software called Free File Sync. Now this is where you may come across something a bit more interesting. So basically the software allows you to create mirror copies of one folder to another and a couple of other things. Something the software does support is two-way backing up. Where's the free download? There it is. So effectively, if I'm working in the backup folder by accident, it'll copy them across to my working folder and things will be fine and dandy. The only issue with that two-way sync is eventually when I change files on my backup and change the same files in my working directory, the program won't really know what to do. So I'll quickly go ahead and reinstall the software as I haven't used it on this new install of Windows, hence the older backup. I'll open it up and I'll add the two folders here. So the working directory I'll add to the left-hand side here, and the backup directory I'll add to the right-hand side here. So left working, right backup. All you have to do from here is select two-way synchronize. As simple as that. I'll cancel out of this as I don't want it doing anything just yet, but you'll see it's moving some folders from the right to the left, depending on which ones are bigger. This one here is bigger and newer. Idea is complete, so it'll replace the older and smaller one on the other drive. Now, of course, I'd usually have two-way sync selected. It'll back up all of my new files into the backup directory and things will work properly, but eventually you'll find issues in this. If I sort by action, you'll see the ones that are removed from my working directory because they don't exist in the backup directory, which is not what I want in this situation. And these ones down here that differ, so they won't have any action taken upon them. These images here may be slightly more compressed or look different or be something that I've worked on, and these ones I've worked on in a different way. So you will have a ton of issues here. This is why I recommend rather manually getting rid of duplicates and then manually going through absolutely everything in your backup, cleaning it up, making sure not to make the same mistake in the future. When I eventually do finish up, instead I'll be using the same software, but this time I'll be selecting Mirror. This way it only takes my active working files and places them into E backup projects instead of E projects. This way I won't be confused and there's no worries about my backup files being older and replacing my working directory files. Of course, this is going to take quite some time, so this is really where I'll be ending off this video. It's sort of not too sure if this video had much of a point, but if you're confused and you're in a situation like I was, hopefully you understand how to deal with it now. Effectively, you want to clean up your backup to remove all of your working files or the copies of them, and then slowly go through everything, removing everything, replacing things as you need, manually being that automatic backup system robot, and eventually, when you've emptied out your backup folder completely, start from new. Depending on how many files you have, this is going to take quite some time. For me, right-click Properties, I have only 5,200 files to go through, but I'll probably be able to tell mostly which file is which and which folder is which, as some of them will contain 200, 300 files that'll all be older than new ones. Anyways, tangents aside, I've sort of got my point through with this video. Hopefully you understand what to do from now, and please do be absolutely diligent with your backups like I am, but try and make sure that your naming scheme for your backup is just as good as your backup habits. So anyways, thank you all for watching. My name's been Techno here for Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.